Welcome to By Candlelight, beaming goth, dark wave and post-punk straight into your brain. Please don't turn yourself off during this cerebral download. So here it is, 16 years after 2008's 413 Dream. I've been waiting here for it and it's been like a really late bus. So coming in at just over 49 minutes, over 8 tracks, I have a fun fact for you. This album is 39% intro. Yeah, I did the math. Robert has said that when he knows what the first and the last tracks of an album will be, that's a huge chunk of the work done. That makes sense, like knowing how a story will start and end. He has also said that performing this album live has helped him through some quite recent grief. Diving in at opener and first single alone, I wasn't a fan of this back in September. You can watch that thing up there to find out why, but be careful, it hasn't washed and it smells. But as an album track, placed in context, I like Alone a lot more now. I personally wouldn't have released it as a single, or at least not as the first single, but you're really hit by the power of the lyrics. In particular, the line, "And here is to love, to all the love falling out of our lives." It's like Robert is coming to terms with the slow process of how the people we love leave this world. It's heartbreaking, but so very cathartic. It's also inspired by the poem Dregs by Ernest Dowson. Second track, And Nothing Is Forever, counterbalances sweet and positive music with heart-wrenching lyrics, such as I know that my world has grown old and nothing is forever. It feels like he's singing about cherishing every moment because nothing ever lasts. Not that it's referenced here, but the Japanese term mono no aware perfectly aligns with this song. It's the awareness of impermanence that brings a sadness, but also a realisation that this is a reality of life. Do look up that term because it's absolutely beautiful and heartbreaking. Back to the music. I just wish that it didn't begin with that same string sound as featured on Alone. Someone commented that it sounded like a cheap keyboard sound, and I have to agree. It's okay once the full instrumentation kicks in, but that does remain a minor niggle. Then we're into A Fragile Thing. I personally wish that this had been the first single rather than the second. Musically, it skips along, and it feels like it could have been a more direct intro to the album. Some gorgeous guitar too at about 2 minutes and 25 in. Warsong changes things up with a build to these whirlwind guitars that sound like they're going to swallow everything in their path. To me, it sounds very Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, an album that courted the more chaotic sound of the band. Cutting through all those guitars is this lullaby-esque pizzicato that adds a melodic backdrop. The shortest song on the album, this feels like it's referencing more domestic battles rather than macro world problems. Drone No Drone is equally as chaotic and feels like the band are really letting go on this one. Something that the album has really earned at this stage. There's a real vintage feel to this one as well, sitting somewhere between Disintegration and Wish musically. There's also a monster, I don't want to say guitar solo, but I suppose that's what it is. I Can Never Say Goodbye begins with this storm effect reminiscent of The Same Deep Water As You and the loneliest sounding piano. Lyrically, this is plainly about the loss of Robert's brother a few years ago, and you can also feel this loss in the music. All I Ever Am, the third single from the album, brings in this fuzz guitar and quickens the pace. It's still ultra reflective with lines like, "My weary dance with age and resignation moves me slow towards a dark and empty stage. It acts as a breakwater between I Can Never Say Goodbye and the album's parting gesture, which is End Song. Without a doubt, the centerpiece of the album, even though it's at the end. It's loaded with Cure DNA, from the long intro to the rolling tom-toms. This is the one we've all been waiting for. The one that really struck us from those live YouTube vids, or even those just lucky to see them live. This song would just not be the same without that 6 minute and 22 intro. Majestic is not the word. It's so much more than that. Beautiful, heartbreaking, and even life-changing are probably better terms to use to describe this song. Wondering what became of that boy and the world he called his own. I'm outside in the dark, wondering how I got so old. It's impossible not to get overwhelmed by it all, and then it's all over. And the only thing to do is just to play it all again. Many have compared this album to Disintegration, and I think lyrically, yeah. But to me, it's not quite as desolate musically, so I would look to the more emotional elements on Wish if I was making a comparison. This is an album that is nearly impossible to criticise. It would be like reading an account of someone's grief or their darkest moments or fears and saying, nah, I don't like that. You wouldn't, would you? But it did make me wish that they just released 2 additional albums between 413 Dream and this one. Why do I say that? Because Songs of a Lost World just feels so final, like it's the end. I hope that it's not, and that it just stands as a lyrical exorcism of some personal tragedies. A bit like when Nick Cave recorded Skeleton Tree and Ghosteen. Those albums needed to be made at the time with that content to help with grief. Bizarrely, in contrast to Robert's musings about his age, he has never sounded more youthful. Vocally, it feels like no time has passed, particularly on the track Drone No Drone. Generally, this is one of those albums that you just know after a few listens that you're gonna love it. And that's the best feeling. Minor criticisms would be to lose that keyboard sound on Alone and Nothingness Forever, and for it to maybe contain at least 2 additional tracks. It's not a short album, but at 8 tracks it just feels like it's gone too soon. But these are minor quibbles about an album that has risen way above expectation and the extended hiatus to deliver an overwhelmingly emotional lyrical punch, backed by beautiful and layered music. I got the half-speed master version, which is spread over 2 albums rather than the regular one. The half-speed master is meant to deliver better sound quality, but I can't compare because I don't have the regular version. Also picked up the special edition CD, which features an additional CD with the instrumental versions on, so 100% intro. Nice. This also features a Blu-ray copy for those audiophiles with that kind of setup. I'm not one of those people. So all in all, this album gets a strong 9 from me. What do you think of the album? Do you think it lives up to expectation? Let me know in the usual place. Until next time, see you later.